If you want to participate in international capital flows and you are a foreigner, a non-American, then essentially what you need in order to facilitate that, you have to have an American correspondence bank, which puts the Americans, but also the American financial system, in a very strong position, very, very profitable position, because you have to pay for all of this. And what the Americans do, the American politicians, they simply tell the American banks to stop doing business with another bank that they don't like for whatever reason. And then you're screwed as a bank.
Yeah, and you think Putin will be able to change that at this BRICS? Expand the payment system.
They are already doing that. That is already in place. What Putin wants to do, he wants to formalize that, and he wants to expand on that, and he wants more countries to participate on that. But it's going to take a very long time, because SWIFT system is so well entrenched, and the Americans are so dominant, and their financial systems are so dominant, that it's not going to be easy to do that. But it is certainly possible, and it is perhaps high time that something like this happens, because its SWIFT system is quite an expensive system.
Dawie, just tell us more about this payment system that's already it was put in place. What did you say, by China?
By the Russians and China. So already they can exchange, they trade in the various currencies. But remember, there's a bit of an issue here, is that it's a trust issue. So if the Chinese or the Russians want to trade with one another, then they will have to keep a little bit reserves of their currencies on their balance sheets. So the Russians will have to keep some renminbi, and the Chinese will need to keep some ruble on their balance sheets. Not necessarily, but it will make life easier. But what happens in practice is that Russian banks, they hold a lot of renminbi. So a lot of trade between the Russians and the Chinese are actually facilitated via renminbi, the Chinese currency. But that's not all. The Russians, what they do, they barter. For example, I think it was with Moldova, they bartered something like cotton for corn or whatever. I can't remember what it is. It was a proper straightforward barter trade. The problem with barter trade is you have to be able to trust the other guy on the other side of the border. Yeah. And that is why Putin's got another plan, and that is to provide certain guarantees for governments. So governments will guarantee that if you barter with me and something goes wrong, I will pay you the money, I will give back your stuff or whatever. But of course, the payment system will be better instead of barter. And what the Russians also are doing, they import stuff and they send gold. They pay with gold.
Okay.
That is also, in a way, a payment system. But the point is, I think the real payment system is where banks talk to one another and they send money to one another. And that is already in place.